Hey, what's up, family? So, I wanted to briefly speak about prayer today. I was in church today and I had some things on my mind. And instead of being self consumed and focusing on what was going on with me, I asked God to help me pray for somebody else. And the reason that I'm sharing this is because this is the time where we need to pray without ceasing. And we need to pray not just for ourselves, but we need to pray for other people. Many of us wouldn't be where we are in our life right now if somebody was not praying for us, if somebody was not going to God on our behalf, if someone was not thinking about us, right? And so I think it's really important in these times that we understand that prayer is not something you have to sit and do at an altar. You don't have to be down on your knees. You don't need to light a candle. It's a conversation between you and God. It's a conversation. You can be praying all day long. You can be talking to God in the grocery store. Wherever you are, stop in that moment. Anytime you feel confused, anytime you feel sorrow and grief, anytime you feel anxiety, right? Or you're getting worried or whatever, the anxiousness, whatever that is, stop in your tracks and begin to pray. So Jesus was the perfect modeled example for prayer. And there are so many times when I look in scripture where he stopped and he prayed. Many times he went away. So he isolated himself from other people so that he could fully connect with God. When he was afraid, when he felt lonely, when he didn't know what to do next, he went to God, he petitioned to God and asked God to help him. So specifically, I want to just kind of read through the prayer in the garden. And this is in Matthew 26. This is the night before Jesus is crucified and he is scared. Okay, he is scared. So we're in verse, sorry. Okay. Yeah, 30, let's go to 38. Then he said to them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. So he said to the disciples, stay here and watch with me. He went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, oh, Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. And then he came back. He found that the disciples were sleeping. He's like, y'all couldn't even stay up and watch for an hour. Unbelievable. So in verse 42, it says, again, a second time, he went away and prayed, saying, oh, my Father, if this cup cannot pass away from me unless I drink it, your will be done. And he came and found the disciples asleep again, for their eyes were really heavy. So that was the second time he prayed. And he went back a third time. He left them. He went again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. So you ever felt like you're praying, but it's not working? I've heard people say that. I'm praying and it's just not working. Well, that's not how prayer works. Anytime that you pray, anytime that you speak to God, he hears you. We don't have to pray harder and louder and stronger. We need to pray with our heart. Absolutely. So if you want to open your heart up more, right, bigger, then yes. But that's just not how prayer works. It doesn't get to God differently based on how loud you say it or even how many times you say it. He heard you the first time. He hears us. So when things don't move, because sometimes we get frustrated with prayer because you're like, I'm praying and nothing's happening. Our job is to pray. Our job is to say, God, I need help with this. Right? God, I need you to hear this. God, please deliver me from this. God, please forgive me for this. Whatever that is. The conversation and the words go out to God. It's his will as to how he responds to our prayers. So what I want to encourage you to do today is to pray as often as you possibly can. And if you feel resistance, that's just your flesh. You know, anytime the body's changing something, it's going to fight you on it. If any of you study brain science, you know it takes about 300 times for us to create a new habit. So if you haven't done something consistently over and over and over again, you're going to get that pushback from your flesh because your brain's not wired. Now we can get up and brush our teeth, or we can get up and check our cell phone, or we can get up and do those things without even thinking about it because we've done it consistently over and over. So you can form a new habit. You can form a habit of being in prayer with God all day long. You just have to consistently do it. Right? And so when you do it, when you're not in a state of need, this is a big one. And I'm just saying in a state of need, but science basically calls it in a state of stress. So when you're creating a new habit and you're not in a state of stress, you're not in a state of need, but when things are going well, when you are feeling good, when doors are opening, pray even more during those times. Like boost your prayer up even more. Because the neurons in your brain will connect faster when your body's not in that like fight or flight, right? Or just kind of like desperate or survival mode. So pray without ceasing. Talk to God all day long and look for God in every situation. And again, know that we have a modeled example of someone who felt the same things we feel, who had many of the same experiences that we have, but we know that he was a prayer warrior. All right. God bless y'all.